rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
Star Wars #1!
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, if you're looking for Star Wars conversation, this is the right place. Rebel Force Radio, your source for the Force. And oh, so much more. Great to be back with you for another edition of Rebel Force Radio. This is the weekly podcast. That's right. If you found us through our after shows looking at Maul Shadow Lord, and you found out, hey, these guys have a podcast every week where they talk about all kinds of Star Wars stuff. Welcome. I'm glad to have you. That's just one of the many great things that happen as a result of doing the after shows whenever there's a new Star Wars live action or animated show on Disney Plus. We do these weekly roundtable reviews. We take live phone calls and all of that, and it also exposes exposes us to a whole new audience. So and we hear from you that find us through those after shows. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. We have a great show for you here this week. More Mando interview highlights with Jon Favreau. We are counting now just a couple of weeks until Star Wars successfully, triumphantly comes back to the big screen. We're all looking forward to that. And also somehow Oscar Isaac has returned, at least in the topic of Star Wars, as somebody actually asked him about that infamous line.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
We'll hear what Oscar has to say about that. Plus, Gina Carano, Cara Dune, could she be returning to a galaxy far, far away?
It's possible.
We'll have the details coming up, and we'll also be checking in with the folks, the great folks from the Forest Moon Festival in the Cantina segment this week. And they'll be telling you all about the big party happening in the Humboldt-Delta County region, celebrating the filming location of Return of the Jedi. It is one heck of an event. But we're glad you're here joining us for Rebel Force Radio. And by Rebel Force Radio, I mean me. My name is Jason. And if introductions are in order, I'm joined by, of course, my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Jason, can you guess where I went for lunch today? I'll give you one guess.
I'm thinking Burger King, maybe?
That's why I'm wearing this crown, fool. Of course I went to Burger King, and I got this little Baby Yoda Grogu crown. You know, the classic Burger King crowns. They've been handing them out
great.
since
Look at that.
Like 1911 to kids who go to Burger King, and they give them these crowns.
Let's get a good look at that here. This is why you got to be a Patreon subscriber and supporter, because you can see sites like Jimmy Mack sporting this Burger King crown adorned with the cute face of Baby Yoda, Grogu, the child. Any other names?
It.
Yeah, you know who he is.
So I picked up one of these kids' meals, which are currently out now. The kids' meals are out. The adult meals don't come out until, May the 4th, next week.
May the 4th, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But so I'm showing off the box here to Jason that the kids' meal comes in. You know, it's the classic fast food kids meal container. It features a picture of Din Djarin and Grogu, the Mandalorian and Grogu film logo, a maze on the side so you can get your pen and pencil out and follow along the maze and find Grogu. Or what does it say?
Well, I think you're going to find the crest in there. Find the Razor Crest, right? Oh, no, it's helping Grogu find his way back to the Razor Crest. Okay.
Right.
So, yeah.
Help Grogu find his way back to the double Whopper with cheese, but I was wrong about that. And it's just kind
Speaking
of
of the Razor Crest, yeah.
And I just love stuff like this. And so it does come with a toy, these little Mandalorian kids meals, and I got myself a stormtrooper. Right there.
Excuse me, sir. What kind of stormtrooper?
It's like a sand trooper, I would assume.
No, it's a remnant
he has the pauldron.
Stormtrooper, Jim. It's a remnant stormtrooper.
Oh, remnant. Look, it's remnant. You know, you keep making me buy stormtroopers over the years. The only thing that's going to be remnant in my bank account is dust. And look, the kids meal comes with this little. It's not Star Wars branded, but it's this cute little French fry.
Little fries.
holder. I wanted to show this off. It held about a dozen French fries.
Now, did you feel weird at all asking for the kids meal?
No, but I felt a little weird asking for the crown. That's where I felt like I was starting to cross the line a little bit, was asking for the crown. So, hey, I'm in the drive-thru. I come cruise. I got the Allman Brothers cranked on the radio. And I pull up, and I'm like, hey, you got some of those crowns in there? Throw some of those in there, too. I said, for the kids. But it was a big kid I was talking about. There was also an alternate crown I'd like to show off. It's the Mando crown. See that?
Wow.
It looks like the T-visor.
That.
The T-visor on the Mandalorian helmet. Now, this Burger King thing is going international, and it's everywhere. In London, at their Burger Kings in England, they have all black crowns with the Mandalorian and Grogu logo on it. And I think I
thought in London they just called them hats.
Maybe they do. I don't know. In Chicago, we call them the crowns. The crowns.
Yeah.
So
this is great. This is a real, this is a good promotion. I'm happy with this one. I think the artwork and everything looks really cool. And it's got to get the kids excited about Star Wars coming back to the big screen. And actually, if you're a kid, it's not about Star Wars coming back. It's about this cool new movie coming out.
Right on.
With my favorite TV characters, The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. That's what it's about.
It's just such an event with the fast food tie-in. We've been experiencing fast food tie-ins going all the way back to the original film. We did a history of Burger King and Star Wars going all the way back to 1977 on last week's show. And all of our RFR All Access supporters on Patreon got to see us showing it off, but we couldn't keep it to ourselves. We had to post it on YouTube also. So if you want to get a taste for what RFR Full Show Video is all about, which is, by the way, only available on Patreon at patreon.com/RebelForceRadio. If you want to get a taste of what that's all about, check out that Burger King Star Wars history lesson that we posted up to YouTube last week. It's pretty good. You'll enjoy it. I actually do show off things from the old collection, glasses, trading cards, and even food packaging. So I save it all, So I'm looking forward to next week when the adult meal goes on sale. Maybe they'll have adult crowns. That would be a thrill. I don't think so, though, because I think this is the kid crown that I'm wearing with Grogu. And the adult meal crown is the
Mando
T-visor one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're giving them all away this week. So the kid meal this week.
Yeah, I always had a big head as a kid. I could never wear those crowns.
Oh, poor Swank. It's like, this is an after-school special. The kid with the giant head. Mom, I don't want to go to Burger King. Well, Jason, all the Cub Scouts are going to Burger King after the Den meeting.
Oh,
well, I don't want to go. They're going to make me wear a crown. And every time they try to do it, the crown rips in half because of my giant head. I hate my head.
I never knew I had a big head till 8th grade, and my history teacher was describing President Ulysses S. Grant, and he always did these great descriptions and really made these historical characters come to life. And he said, and President Grant, he had a huge head, and this kid goes, was it as big as Swank's?
Oh, shut up, class clown. Yeah.
Oh, hey,
that's
by
mean.
the way,
kids are
before
mean.
Before we go any further, I have to say I just got my copy of the last final issue of Star Wars Insider.
Oh, you did?
In the mail. I got it in the mail, and I was flipping through, and what did I see but our own Jimmy Mack?
They put a picture
right
of me in there.
there, Jimmy Mack with a quote all about how much Star Wars Insider meant to him. And do you mind, Jim, if I read the quote?
I'd like to hear it. Actually, I should pull up what I actually wrote just to see how accurate it is. Like,
that would be kind of fun.
How
Why
much
don't you
did they edit me?
Why don't you read what you actually wrote? I'll follow along with the magazine.
No, I think it would go better the other way. That you read it and I'll follow along.
But we might not believe you.
What do you mean not believe me?
Well, I mean, you could say, well, that's not what I wrote. We don't know. All right. Well, it says Jimmy Mack McInerney, insider, contributor, and podcaster.
Yes.
Now, a little RFR plug would have been nice, but hey, it's okay. It's fine.
Oh, I almost demanded that they plug it. I said, because they reached out to me. They said, hey, would you write something for the last issue? And I said, sure, as long as I can plug Rebel Force Radio in it. So already right out of the box.
Already, yeah, right. Okay, here it is. Jimmy Mack says,
yeah.
From Dan Madsen's prequel production updates with Rick McCallum to collecting news and advice from the great Stephen J. Sansweet to the wild and crazy Wonder column written by the effervescent and always witty Anthony Daniels. Insider was the conduit for fans to stay connected and up to date with our favorite film franchise. I devoured each and every issue. Thank you, Star Wars Insider. It's been a great run.
Wait a second. Wait a second. When did I say I devoured each and every issue?
Yeah, devoured. Devoured was the word.
Ooh, they left out all the good stuff. And I didn't say that part at the end about devouring every issue.
You didn't. Well, I mean, they gave Warwick, Davis a pretty big slot there.
Yeah.
You're on the same page with Gus Lopez, Kelly Knox, Steve Sansweet. You're right next to Steve. You know what Steve's going to say when he gets this? Oh, geez. Right next to Jimmy Mack.
Yes. Yeah. There's a giant part. There's 2 paragraphs missing from.
Well, they were cutting for.
Actually 3. They picked one paragraph and then they ran with it.
Did they give you a word count to stick with? No more than 35 words.
Nothing like that. No.
Okay.
No. And now that I see it and, I see how they presented it, I feel like it was extremely presumptuous and rude of me to say to them, hey, please, I'll do it if you promote the podcast. And I said, and don't Jim. Edit me. Don't edit me. Who the hell do I think I am sometimes?
Well, don't worry, because they're out of business, and we're still on the air, so don't worry. But you're here. Jimmy Mack is joining the ranks of folks, like I said, Warwick Davis, the great Steve Sansweet. We've got Jonas Suetomo,
yes.
Tim Zahn. We've got Terrell Whitlatch. She was on RFR. Boy, she was great. She designed a lot of creatures for the Phantom Menace.
She designed Jar Jar Binks.
I mean, my God, Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
We've got Adam Savage. I'm a big fan of Adam Savage. Tom Spina, Mark Newbold. Yeah, I'm skipping some names for obvious reasons. But, Chris Bartlett, good friend of us here. Joe Caroni, great artist. One of the very first interviews we ever did in our podcast adventures back in the Forcecast days. Mark Hamill. Jim, Mark Hamill, if it makes you feel any better, actually had fewer words than you. They gave you more words than Mark Hamill.
Well, something seems very wrong about that.
Now, they gave him a big picture. He's got a larger picture. Yeah. But word count. I bet they didn't edit Mark Hamill. This is what Mark said. He said, congratulations to everyone involved with the successful run of That Star magazine. No, he says, of Star Wars Insider, both insightful and inspirational. Fans have much to be grateful for, with many thanks, MH. And he signed it with a little rebel symbol. Anyway, no, all kidding aside, great issue. It's amazing and a little bit bittersweet to have it. I love the cover. I do like the artwork. And it's pretty cool. Jimmy Mack is in there. So I tell you what, if you have it, bring it with you to Cleveland for the Mando Grogu after show live. Jimmy Mack will sign it for you, right? You'll sign it for him.
Well, so can I see it again? Because this is the first time I'm even seeing
Oh, yeah, sorry. I know you tend to get yours a little bit later. Let me
I get them like a month later. Which is odd, right? But it's a beautiful.
And then let me open
cover,
it up.
The cover.
Oh, it's great.
Can I see my page?
Yeah. Here's your page.
Wow, look at that guy.
There he is.
That's the photo. That's my headshot from when we hosted the stage at Star Wars Celebration.
Well, look at the picture they used of Steve. Steve Sampson
from the film.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. From the Phantom Menace.
Right.
Yeah.
I just love that you're right next to Steve.
Yeah.
I can't get away from this guy.
That doesn't look bad. Now, I don't know. I'm kind of at odds if I want to read to you what I actually wrote, and because it's a long thing, but I feel like I want to just because I wrote it and I'm just okay. I want to get it off my chest.
Should we play some sad music in the background?
Do you have any? Do you
have? I don't have any sad music in the background.
Because I mean, it does get a little bleak at a certain time.
Maudlin.
All right, yeah. The third paragraph is a rough one.
Okay. Oh, God, how long are we going to be here? Hey, right. Don't edit me.
I can't believe the arrogance. The arrogance of the don't edit me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Mack with a special send-off to Star Wars Insider magazine.
I remember the first time I stumbled upon an issue of Star Wars Insider magazine on a newsstand in Chicago. I was thrilled to discover such a publication existed, and it was exactly what this Star Wars fan needed. We fans had long been waiting for the then dormant franchise to return. This was around 1994, and it was an early issue with Ralph McQuarrie on the front cover. The internet had not yet gained traction, so Star Wars Insider was our only source of information about the galaxy far, far away, and we fans valued it in a profound way. Paragraph 2. This is the one that you'll be familiar with. From Dan Madsen's prequel production updates, yada, yada, yada. Swank read it. Now here is the infamous paragraph 3. Did you find any sad music yet, or am I still?
I'm sorry. I figure by the time
if you're gonna play
this podcast
it, this
goes
is the
live. Yeah, okay.
One moment in particular, when the magazine served its most valuable purpose for me personally, occurred on September 11th, 2001. We all know what happened that day as we watched in real time as tragedy unfolded in New York City. Every television station dedicated round-the-clock coverage, and our eyes were glued to the television set as the world shut down around us. It was all-consuming, unavoidable, and inescapable. Later, on that horrible day, this is so heavy-handed, I opened my mailbox and discovered the new issue of Star Wars Insider had arrived. Once I was able to finally tear myself away from the terrible news being reported on TV, Star Wars Insider was an oasis, a refuge, a welcome distraction from the horrifying reality that was unfolding around us. In an instant, I was able to escape and go to the Star Wars universe via the pages of Insider magazine. It was the only uplifting experience I had on one of the darkest days in human history. Oh my God. In that moment, Star Wars Insider was never more valued nor important to me. That's pretty heavy-handed shit right there. All right.
Well, I mean...
Quiet, Swank, paragraph 4. I'm sorry to see the end of an era upon us, as this is the final issue of a legendary staple of our fandom. My podcast, Rebel Force Radio. I don't even credit you, Swank. What a dick. My podcast, Rebel Force Radio, has been featured in the pages of this magazine several times. And I've even written a couple of articles for it myself. An opportunity I've always valued. Thank you, Star Wars Insider. It's been a great run. Signed, James Jimmy McInerney, Rebel Force Radio. No Swank. So, I mean, really, I have a few things to say about that. Okay. As you guys know, I was knocked out of commission for several weeks at the end of last year. And they had pumped me up with so many steroids that it really came across in a lot of the things that I was writing. Things were very, heavy-handed, I think is the word. Our Patreon supporters were entertained by some of my writings because I couldn't podcast. Right. And so, I was weak in terms of actual verbal communication. So I pooled all my energy into typing some pretty intense stuff, I think. And that particular passage was written in that time from my bed. So.
From your sick bed?
Yeah, well, my bed, it was just my bed.
Oh, yeah. Right,
I was sick. The bed was fine. So, not making excuses for it, but that is the first time I've read that since I wrote it. And boy, oh boy, is that some heavy-handed stuff. And such arrogance for me to say to Mark, or I'm not going to say who it was, but for me to say to him, I'm sure I have the communication here somewhere where I told him what my demands were. With this venerable magazine that's been supporting our fandom for 3 decades. Here it is. I'm like, oh, God, I'm so full of myself in this. I said, I have one stipulation, however. I want to be credited as Jimmy Mac from Rebel Force Radio. If the podcast doesn't get a mention, I'm not interested in participating. So please let me know straight up what the deal is, and I'll write you a bunch of good stuff, and I'll get it to you ASAP. And they're like, yeah, we'll just check with the editor, whatever. Just send it.
Sure, dude. Can you just send us a note about what the insider has meant to you?
Yeah. How about that? How about keep it simple, stupid? I'm quoting my experiences from 9/11. I mean, who wants that? Well, they're trying to celebrate the existence of this magazine and the great run they had, and I'm bringing up 9/11.
I wonder why they left that part out.
What a flippin' downer. I mean, it's true. All of that stuff is true, but the heavy-handed way I wrote all of this stuff is just... I'm embarrassed, actually. I'm embarrassed. I'm so glad. You know what? I'm going to write them right now. Thank God cooler heads prevailed, and you guys edited the hell out of me.
My steroid-fueled rant about Star Wars Insider.
And that was written at a time when I was getting like 2 or 3 hours of sleep a day.
Right.
So like my brain was oatmeal. And I was all roided up.
Gosh.
I'm typing.
That's funny. With your little thumbs.
I think what I did even was, I think I did voice to text, and then I went through and refined my masterpiece. Yeah, right. Oh, God. That is so ridiculous, but congratulations.
It's on newsstands now, yes.
Yeah, on newsstands. Congrats, Star Wars Insider magazine, featuring a photo of me from 11 years ago or whatever. You'll find it on newsstands now. It's a good picture, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah. It's an oldie but goodie.
It's classic.
It is definitely a classic. All right.
Still resemble that guy, I guess.
Yeah, you got right. There's a little more salt in the pepper, but you know what? It's happening to all of us.
There's a little more salt in the wounds. Yep.
All right. Let's talk about our big event coming up later this month. I almost said next month. I can't believe we've already turned the calendar to May. What a big month we have in store. We got the finale, season finale, rather, of Maul Shadow Lord. Will be coming at you live next Tuesday, May the 5th, for our final after show, looking back at, of course, episodes 9 and 10, but the whole run of Maul Season 1. So make sure you're joining us for that. That's 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, only on YouTube. So subscribe to the Rebel Force Radio channel there. But we also have, of course, on May 22nd, the big theatrical premiere of The Mandalorian and Grogu. First time Star Wars is back in the theaters in a very long time. And then the day after, we're going to be doing a live after show in Cleveland at Playhouse Square. It's going to be fantastic. Tickets are on sale now. General admission doors are going to open at 5:30. We're going to do a little podcast from 6 to 8. It's going to be great. It's going to be in the same format as our after shows have been for all the Disney Plus series and sequel trilogy films and all of that, where we're going to be taking your calls. But instead of taking your calls, you're going to be right there in the room with us. So Tyler Page, to keep it official, will be traveling around and putting the microphone right up to your face so that you can ask your questions and join in the conversation. It's going to be fantastic. And then we're going to be having a little after party at the Hofbräu House, right around the corner from Playhouse Square, just a few steps away. Our own private event. It's going to be great just for the folks that attended the Mandalorian and Grogu after show. And we got a little exclusive gift for everybody. And I just put the finishing touches on that. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So there's a little surprise for everybody for coming out. The Hofbräu House is fantastic. It's located in the old Hermit Club, which probably doesn't mean much to those outside of the Cleveland area, but it's a really great historical building. Goes back to the late 1920s. So great venue. We're going to party all night long. And it's going to be so much fun. So cannot wait. The ticket sales have been great. We've been really, really pleased with how many people have reached out and said that they're coming and they're going to be hanging out all weekend with us. Jim, I don't know if there are still tickets available for that showing of the film on Friday night. We're going to be, let me just pull that up.
Something tells me there is.
Yeah, I looked last week, and there were still tickets. Let me see if I can find that link here. But we are going to be at... Oh, it was longer ago than I thought when those tickets went on sale. Jeez, either that or you and I text a lot, I guess, as I scroll here.
Yeah. It's the Cinemark Valley View. We'll be going.
Thank you. You got it.
Yeah, the Cinemark Valley View in the some sort of theater called an XD theater, and that's a 6:30 showing on Friday, May 22nd. Cinemark Valley View. So it's not in Cleveland. It's just outside Cleveland, in the burbs. So we'll be there. That's right. We'll be there 6:30. And that's about the time I'll be arriving in Cleveland. So I'll just pull right up to the theater, park.
There are still plenty of seats left. I mean, that middle section is gonzo.
Yeah,
but
the choice seats
if you
want
to, but if you want to make sure that you're there in the theater with us, tickets are still available for that showing, as according to the Cinemark app. So
join us. It's a casual thing. That's just where we're going to be seeing it on Friday. And be there, be square. That's in Cleveland, or I'm sorry, in Valley View. Is that the name of the suburb itself, Valley View?
I don't know. There's so many little burgs and towns surrounding Cleveland, and so I don't know. But it's just down the highway.
What kind of food is Cleveland known for? Do you guys
Polish
have like
food?
Polish food. So I heard about a Cleveland Punchkis. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's familiar to a lot of stuff here in Chicago too, which is Chicago is the biggest concentration of Polish people outside of Poland itself. It's true. I'm
Cleveland's
not
up.
joking.
Yeah, Cleveland's up there too.
Gotta be.
And
Gotta
you
be.
know, something I've noticed as I've worked in Cleveland now the last 15 years. There is a Cleveland accent that is awfully close to the Chicago accent. I really feel that there's something about, and maybe it does come through the Polish communities.
Maybe
that might have just migrated a little bit further east. But there is definitely a shared dialect amongst certain parts of Cleveland and the Chicago area.
Someone told me there's a particular restaurant in Cleveland that serves up a Polish sausage, and it's like smothered in barbecue sauce and other stuff, and they say that's like a Cleveland sandwich if there ever was one. But I don't know. I'd have to research that a little bit. Maybe we'll check it out. It's not ringing any bells for you, Swank, though.
It is not. No, it is not.
All right.
It is not. But who's that guy that does the diners, drive-ins, and dives? Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
Guy Fieri has a great episode of drive-ins, divers, or you know what I'm talking about. Dive-ins, drives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Guy Fieri show.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives. All about Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. But the big thing is that we're going to be there together May 23rd, 2026 at Playhouse Square, the largest performing arts center outside of New York's Lincoln Center in the country. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda, I love you.
Rebel Force Radio.
All right. Well, let's check in with listener mail. We got a good one this week.
Let's do it.
You must contact me.
Play back the entire message.
What message?
Message after the message.
The Emperor commands you to make contact with him. It's a trick. Send no reply.
Hey guys, it's Josh from Buffalo. Just calling after listening to some of the after shows. Want to say my thoughts on what you guys have talked about with Ezra and him getting pulled to the dark side. Jimmy, specifically, you said you wanted to see him, actually convert fully, see him full dark. And I just wanted to say, we've seen a lot of Jedi do that, convert to the dark side and be tempted. Every Jedi gets tempted at some point. But we see him get stopped by that. We've seen him use the Sith holocron even, so we see him like almost there. But what stops him is Kanan having that father figure, that master figure in his life, the guide, really. And that's his guide from the beginning, the person that changed him and affected him most throughout the whole 4 seasons of Rebels. And, we have that here with Devin. We have Iko Digodaki or whatever, helping her, and keeping her light and everything, keeping her, through a light path. But, I also agree. I think he's probably going to get killed at some point in the season. It's going to be just Maul. And, the relation to that in Rebels is Maul was trying to get Ezra as his apprentice, the whole time. That was his, half of his goal. He was, had this weird thing with, competition with Kanan to try, even though he was never going to really get him. It was just, he was trying. So we're probably going to see that with Devin. What happens to her? How does he lose her at some point? But the point is, so I'm okay with not seeing with Ezra. We've seen it, we're going to see it with Devin. We've seen it with Anakin. He had people around him, but he also had that person tempting him, which was Palpatine. In this case, it's Maul. He didn't have as much of the person really stopping him from converting. He had more of the temptation. He had more of the reason to. But yeah, Ezra had the family. He had the mentor. He had everything like that. So I don't want to take up too much of the time, but I just want, you guys to see the parallels there. There are some, the master and apprentice. I know you guys have talked about this in past, but specifically with Ezra, I feel like there is a reasoning to why he didn't go to the dark side and a good reason for it. But yeah, all right, love you guys, and catch you later.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. So it's interesting to see and compare a character like Devin with a character like Ezra, both being tempted by Maul, very different Mauls in terms of where he is in his psyche. And we just kind of really got it all laid out for us with these last 2 episodes of where Maul is in his own head. Definitely Josh is right that the difference maker with Ezra was Kanan. There was something very, very special about their relationship, and it was a very healthy relationship when you look back at it between the two of them. Whereas the Obi-Wan Anakin relationship, there was I always got the sense that there was some competition kind of undercurrent between the two of them. They had very, very different ideas and ideals. Kenobi was a lot more by the book, whereas Anakin was definitely a risk taker. Anakin, I think, was kind of one of those, like, the ends justify the means. I'm going to make the mission a success, and, I might break a few rules, but it's all for the greater good. But I just always felt that Kanan and Ezra were on the same page a lot. And Kanan was very much Ezra looked up very much to Kanan, like a father or a big brother. So that family environment, sort of captained by Kanan and Hera as the motherly figure, and he had Zeb, and it really, I think, did insulate and protect him from an eventual fall to the dark side. Now, Devin, on the other hand, she only has Master Daki, and Lawson and Riley are pretty tangential as of now. Now, that doesn't mean that those relationships can't grow, but I think she is going to be very vulnerable when she loses Master Daki, and we know that that's coming.
That's right. I got to admit, I did not obsess over the death of Daki when watching these last 2 episodes, episodes 7 and 8. For some reason, I was just like, no, Daki's here for the long haul. Let's go, Daki. But I do obsess over the death of Daki, and I'm glad to hear that other people are also seeing the foreshadowing going on. And I think the biggest difference, if you want to compare Ezra and Devin, is that Ezra had a whole sort of awakening when he met Kanan and Kanan started training him in the Force. It was fresh. It was new. He was tapping into a potential within him he never knew existed. So he was buying in 1,000%. Devin, on the other hand, all she knows is the loss of the lifestyle of being a Jedi. And what it was like to be part of their established system and have that foundation to always guide her, always educate her, something to always lean on, support, always there. She lost all of that. So all she knows is lost. So she's fighting for survival. Having to do that is new to her. And it's not fresh and exciting at all. Whereas Ezra, on the other side of the coin, has known nothing but living on the streets, fighting for his own survival his whole life. So, becoming strong in the Force as a Jedi is the most acceptable thing and the greatest thing Ezra can do, because it's presenting a new, fresh life to him. Devin, she lost everything. So she's fighting just to live. She's fighting to survive. And she's getting to the point now where she's running out of patience with holding on to the old ways of a now extinct organization or faith or discipline or however you want to frame the Jedi. So I think that's the biggest difference between the two. Now, it's selfish and it's personal, the reasons why I wanted to see Ezra fall to the dark side. It's because I always felt like the character needed an edge. He was always, to me, a little weenie. And I wanted the character to have some edge. I wanted to see him grow. And I like where the character is going in the Ahsoka series, the live action. I like live action Ezra. And much more than the animated version. And I thought Taylor Gray did a fine job voicing the character. And I like Taylor a lot. I think he's a great guy. But it was just something about the animation model that they used for Ezra that always turned me off a lot. I liked him when he had the longer hair. Then in the last couple seasons, he cut his hair real short. and he just looked like such a little tool. With the orange jumpsuit on and the short blue hair, it wasn't working for me at all. I just didn't want to look at Ezra. But I appreciate the caller. I like the hand holding that sometimes I need when I go down the path of Star Wars Rebels. With me, a lot of the things that stand out about Star Wars Rebels is the way it connects to the past by inserting Vader, inserting Maul, inserting Obi-Wan, inserting Ahsoka. I like that stuff, and I was much more connected to that stuff than I ever was the crew of the Ghost. And that's a disconnect that's on me personally. I don't use it to judge other fans who love Rebels. And I've seen Rebels tell some really, really cool stories. But I connected more with the Clone Wars when you want to talk about Star Wars animation. And by the time we were being fed Rebels, I was still feeling a little bitter about the cancellation of Clone Wars. So that sort of shaded my experience with Rebels from the get-go.
Yeah, it did kind of. It was a rough transition because the shows were so different, and even though in retrospect they both have a lot of virtues, but it did make it hard because it was almost like, well, we're going to take this away from you, and now we're going to give you this, and you're going to like it. And it's like, wait a minute. I was still enjoying that other thing. What?
Right. And it was going somewhere. I felt like Clone Wars was going somewhere. And Rebels certainly told a tighter story. They told it in a linear fashion. They kept the focus on that group, that crew of the Ghost. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so it was really well executed. And also, it was placed firmly in the original trilogy era. Well, not original trilogy, but in the Dark Times era, the Imperial era. I think the timeline is 5 years to 2 years. Prior to the original trilogy. And I like that. It was just that when I see what they were doing with Clone Wars, when Clone Wars was at its best, that was pure cinema. And when I watched Rebels, I had always felt like it was more like a Saturday morning cartoon. Again, on me, that's my perception. I appreciate and respect the fans who believe that Rebels is the greatest thing that Star Wars ever produced. But I could never say that because the original trilogy was. So, I mean, we can argue about that all day.
Right.
And people are more than willing to take up that fight.
Looking back, I do think in retrospect, it's a shame that Rebels, and I understand why it wasn't. It was a cost cutting. And that was the other thing, sort of the other aura around Rebels was that it was designed to be cheaper than what we had gotten. And we were very spoiled with Clone Wars. But I think the problem is now looking back where you've got that consistent style of animation that has become a hallmark, an icon of Star Wars storytelling in animated form. It's a shame that the Rebels is such a visual disconnect from the other shows because Bad Batch, Clone Wars, and now Maul, Shadow Lord all have this incredible cinematic feel where some shots are even indistinguishable from live action, especially vehicles and settings and all of that. So I'm totally with you on that. Felt more like a Saturday morning cartoon. And I think that's where Disney's head was because we got Resistance after that, which is even more like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that show. I really don't. I have zero connection to that show. I pieced out after the first episode.
Oh, you actually watched an episode?
Oh yeah, I watched the first episode because we thought we might do after shows.
Yeah,
and then I watched the first.
Then we saw the first episode. As soon as we saw that first episode, it was trouble ahead. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the caller, or thanks for the voicemail, Josh. Josh from Buffalo. Some interesting things to think about with the difference between those two characters, both being tempted by Maul. I like what you said, Jim, about Devin sort of being on the way down, whereas Ezra was on the way up in terms of discovering their Force abilities. Makes a big difference in what motivates them and all of that.
Ezra only sees the potential in the Force, and Devin only sees the restrictions of the Jedi. And I think that's a big difference.
Yeah. All right. If you need more of this type of conversation in your life, and why wouldn't you need more Rebel Force Radio? And 2 podcasts a week aren't enough as we're doing our mall after shows. You need to check out Rebel Force Radio over on Patreon. More podcasts, more conversation, just more RFR.
There's so much happening at Rebel Force Radio on Patreon. Now, I know a lot of times you guys have to wait a week to hear from us here on the weekly RFR during those weeks when there's no after show. Of course, after shows, right now you guys are spoiled. You get 2 shows a week. But the supporters on Patreon, they're the most spoiled because sometimes they get up to 4 shows a week because there are bonus exclusive podcasts being released on Patreon all the time. We have RFR Q&A featuring RFR VIPs who get to host a show with me that's only heard on Patreon, and the host gets to pick the subject matter. So it's a lot of fun. I never know well, sometimes they give me a heads up. Hey, we're going to be talking about this book. And I'll be like, oh my God, I better read that book or listen to the audio book at least if I get that heads up. Sometimes I don't get the heads up. It's just I walk into these shows totally blind. And somebody paid me a really nice compliment and said I was like a studio musician who could play with a lot of different musicians, all kind of different music, except in the realm of Star Wars. That's sort of the wide berth of topics that we discuss. We also have the RFR RPG, which is role-playing gaming. You've heard us talk about the adventures of Podcastus and Grando the Grand. The home of RFR RPG is patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. Check us out. See which tier fits you the best. Obviously, the higher the tier, the more exclusive podcasts, video, and opportunities you get. So, and you can join for free too if you just want to check it out and see what it's all about and understand what Patreon is. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to hear the podcast. You can copy an RSS code and put it in the podcast player of your choice and get all of our exclusive programming that way. So if you're used to hearing Rebel Force Radio on iTunes and you like it that way and you don't want to have to go to another app or another website to hear our exclusive podcasts, you can copy an RSS link, place it into your podcast player like iTunes or like Spotify, and you'll get all of the exclusive RFR podcasts delivered right to you. So that's patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. Support Rebel Force Radio, get exclusive podcasts, get full show video, and get ad-free shows too, by the way. Ad-free podcast release, early bird releases at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. That's patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio.
I have good news for you, my lord.
That's good news. Come closer, I have good news.
Oh, yes, we've got news. News. Just a couple of weekends ago, over at CinemaCon at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Jon Favreau discussed bringing a streaming property to the big screen and also talked about the future of the Star Wars universe and more. This was moderated by Matt Bellamy, and Jim went through all of the audio footage. Actually, this is video. Oh, this is great. So he went through the video and picked out some highlights from this. So, Jim, what jumped out at you, this interview with Jon Favreau at CinemaCon?
Well, I just think it's refreshing to hear right from Favreau's mouth how they switched gears with The Mandalorian. Why didn't they do a season 4? And how did they switch gears from the streaming series to a feature film for The Mandalorian? So Favreau explains.
Sorry about that.
Favreau explains.
This was a matter of us before going into the strike and the lockdown and all that, not the lockdown, but the strike, thinking we were going to be doing a 4th season, writing a 4th season. Mm-hmm. And then like with the Dodgers, you get a tap on the shoulder in the bullpen. Do you want to pitch in the big game?
Yep.
And we have been talking about doing something for the big screen with this for a long time. I thought it was going to probably be some exploration of mixing different media, like something for streaming and then having a theatrical component. I didn't know none of that really emerged. And then I finally got asked, would you be open to exploring these characters for the cinema? And you have to completely switch hats then.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to take what Favreau's talking about here. He said that this is something they'd been talking about or thinking about for a long time. That was sort of aspirational that they could take these characters or a part of this onto the big screen. And he said he envisioned, Jim, that they might do something for streaming and then have a component, I forget the word that he used, but have a part of it on the big screen. And I wonder if he's referring to this idea that was floated out there that the big screen, much like the Avengers model with Marvel, would be where we would see these characters from the Mandoverse team up, and that they would actually be introduced and kind of explored as individuals on the streaming series and then in some big team up fashion. I wonder if that's what he's talking about. And he says it did not emerge. Yeah. So is that Favreau saying that, yeah, that big team up film, that big Avengers thing that we've been rumored isn't going to happen?
And that was the film that was supposed to be Dave Filoni's feature film debut.
Yeah, right.
But if it was big box office, they would obviously do a sequel to it. So everyone's going to be looking at the box office numbers here for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Mm-hmm. And early estimates are coming in at 80+ million for opening weekend. It's a 4-day opening weekend.
Right.
And that's across Memorial Day. But I think they're underestimating the passion of Star Wars fans who like to go to see the movies multiple times. This isn't your typical one-and-done franchise. It never has been. The hardcore fans will definitely go back for repeat viewings. And if it's really good, they'll go back for many repeat viewings. So you can never rule that out. Even in this day and age, you can never rule that out. So I'm optimistic for a $100 million opening weekend during Memorial Day weekend. We shall see, but these so-called experts are saying anywhere from 75 to 80+.
Yeah, which would be, okay. I guess if you look at this from the context of a streaming series making its leap to the big screen, but in the annals of Star Wars and Star Wars box office, something in that range would be a disappointment.
Yeah, it would be less than Solo.
Yeah.
But also not nearly as expensive as Solo. We got to keep that in mind.
Right.
There were already existing assets for this film that are being recycled from the streaming series. So that lowered the cost of this movie to somewhere in the neighborhood of 165 to 175 million bucks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't believe that would include marketing costs, but
no,
I don't care, really.
It's not going to cover those Happy Meals that you got there and those Burger King crowns.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can't get enough of these things. If it was socially acceptable, I would show up to the day job wearing my Mandalorian Baby Grogu Burger King crown.
Well, if they know you well enough, Jim, they wouldn't think a thing of it.
You know what? I think I can get away with it. So film at 11. All right. As I'm walking out of there with the cardboard box holding all my possessions, but the crown's still firmly on my head.
Oh, of course, yes.
As security pushes me toward the elevator for one last time. So Favreau does expand a little bit about what he was just talking about, switching gears from season 4 to a feature film, and he talks about the difference between the streaming series and the movie.
You have to separate what we did for the streaming show and for here. The streaming show, we had months to do it in each season. We had to turn around in less than a year. This one we have years. And so part of the challenge for the streaming show is how do you make it look cinematic? How do you make it look like Star Wars? Even though it's for the small screen, how do you make it feel like a cinematic experience for people at home? It was the first time we were asking people to watch it on streaming. It had been a long time before there's anything on television for Star Wars.
This is the first attempt to transition a streaming hit to theaters.
That's right. Well, just to wind back, just getting it on the small screen and make it look like it could, and we saw premieres and marketing screenings of it, and what we did for the small screen really held up for the big screen, but we had to do it in a compressed amount of time, and so we came up with new technologies like the wraparound video screen, we called it the volume. And after 3 seasons of that, and then other shows that shot on the volume, there were limitations as far as what you could present. And so now by doing a film, we partnered up very early on. We knew it was going to be a theatrical release. We knew we were going to be working with IMAX. We met with IMAX. We went into we screened great versions of who had worked with that format and asked questions. And so we took the time to build vertical sets, to build practical sets. We did use some of the same technology, but mostly for interactive light and for reflections, which are important for when you're on a stage, so that everything's not blue screen. Yeah. But people will see pictures behind the scenes. We built jungles, we built tanks, we built pits, we built forests. And then we also shot out on location as well.
So years, gosh, the time flies when you're covering Star Wars on a weekly podcast like this. But it's hard to remember. But yeah, it has been years. This has been in development. So when did the last episode of Mando run? That season 3 was that
winter 2023?
Yeah. So it has been 3 years,
and then that summer was the writer's strike followed by the actor's strike. Or maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah, but
I remember they were happening like concurrently at one point.
Right.
And that was throughout the summer of 2023.
And that really threw off their plan for season 4, as he said in the previous clip. And then you had Kathleen Kennedy that came out and introduced those 3 films, the Filoni film, the Mangold film, and the Obaid Chinoy film.
Yeah. But that was before the strikes in April 2023. Star Wars Celebration London. Then by January 2024, they're announcing the Mandalorian and Grogu film. So
Disney.
Disney.
So Lucasfilm announced by way of Kathleen Kennedy those 3 films, and then Disney came along, and Favreau talked about getting the tap on the shoulder, and we know who that tap on the shoulder was from. Whose finger was doing the tapping, and that was Bob Iger.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say rhymes with slob Feiger. But he got the tap, and so he probably got the tap on the shoulder fall 2023. Yeah. And so he started then immediately retooling some of the plot stuff in the scripts he wrote for season 4 and fashioning that into a script. And so if they actually do come back with Mandalorian season 4, I bet it will be vastly different than what Favreau was envisioning, because he must be he didn't just say, all right, well, I wrote this season of the show and that's not going to air, but I'm going to put that aside and come up with an entirely new movie so they can announce it in January 2024, which gives me 8 weeks. Okay. No, he took those scripts and cherry-picked from them to create this film, because he had it ready to rock. So that's exactly what happened then with season 4 of The Mandalorian morphing into this feature film.
And I have no doubt that this movie is going to give us big cinematic moments, because there were big cinematic moments, frankly, in the streaming series.
Right.
And as he says, they worked directly with the people at IMAX. They were looking at the films that really took advantage of that technology, wanted to make sure that they were hitting the mark. And I mean, guys, at the end of the day, you may not love the sequel trilogy, but those are beautiful looking films. Lucasfilm and ILM, they know what they're doing when it comes to making big cinematic experiences. And I know there's been a lot of hand-wringing about it. It's not going to look like a movie. It's going to look like a TV show. I don't buy that for 1 second. This is going to feel like a movie.
I think about the season 2 premiere of The Mandalorian where they're fighting the Krayt Dragon. That's pure cinema. That's pure cinema.
The raid on the sand crawler, that one still jumps out in my mind as being a great moment. Yeah.
And we'll be seeing shades of that with a raid on AT-ATs, I believe, in this Mandalorian film. So I am looking forward to the IMAX sneak preview that they're going to be showing on May the 4th. So I'll be back next week with a full report about that if you want it. I get nervous about spoilers, and I think some people don't want it. But I can give you a spoiler-free review next week and just tell you what I thought of it. That's kind of a refreshing change of pace for us. We basically tell you how it is and what it is, but we don't always tell you whether or not we liked it. It's true.
Yeah.
And I think I'll be giving a more personal review of the preview footage so I can avoid spoilers and talk more about feels.
The feels. I like that. I like that. And then off the air, I'll be asking you for spoilers. Though I did read as I said last week, I did read the synopsis of what was shown at CinemaCon, and it's very likely the bulk of what's going to be shown at this IMAX presentation. So I think we have one more from Jon Favreau, at least from the CinemaCon event.
We do. Loyal RFR listener Greg Haar watched this interview, and he wanted to hear what we thought about something Favreau said in this next clip about the influence of George Lucas and the classic serials like Flash Gordon.
We always go back to George's influences, right? Okay. So George was very much influenced by samurai films, by Westerns, and there's been a conversation between the Western and the samurai film from the beginning. Star Wars you have to think of it not just as a genre in and of itself, but as a lens for other genres. And so by going to what influenced George, we find that gets us to a feeling of consistency and authenticity. And if you remember, he originally was exploring getting the rights to Flash Gordon before Star Wars. Flash Gordon is a much different format. It's big, it's fun, it's fantasy, it's pulp. You think of fantasy artwork. These are scale set pieces that work for the big screen in a way that they wouldn't for the small screen. And so we started leaning into the roots of sci-fi space opera, like Flash Gordon, and like what inspired Star Wars and the filmmakers of that generation.
Well, that's very obvious from the marketing. We saw that just the logo, the Mandalorian and Grogu logo. We used those words, Jim, and we saw that for the very first time. Pulpy. The poster is very pulpy. So I guess in this case, the box, the wrapper, tells us a lot about what's inside. And so this is, according to Favreau, going to go beyond just the marketing and the look of the film, but the inside parts too. The film itself is going to be very pulpy and inspired by things like Flash Gordon.
This is a very Dave Filoni approach that I think has almost suffocated Lucasfilm over the last decade and prevents it from growing and providing fresh new directions, is because they spend too much time not being influenced by Star Wars itself and poking around what exists as a foundation for future storytelling in the Star Wars universe. They get so obsessed and consumed with exploiting the influences that George leaned on when he was creating the original film. I don't think George was leaning on those same influences for any of the follow-up films like The Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. I think George was building upon what he had already established in A New Hope by the time he was creating the rest of the original trilogy. I firmly believe that. But Filoni and modern Lucasfilm get so obsessed with George's influences that they bend over backwards to try to include some sort of homage to the things that George was influenced by in Star Wars. I don't think George was ever that obvious or that direct. He used all of these influences and put them into a melting pot to create Star Wars. And it was a unique and original mix. It was a blend that I think could have only been created once and one time only by the master himself, George Lucas. And I think other people cherry picking those influences like samurai, like westerns, like fairy tales, and focusing in on that as opposed to focusing in on Star Wars is something that is truly handcuffing Star Wars and preventing it from growing into new and original places because they keep going back to the same well, a well that I think George Lucas himself abandoned after he established the foundation for Star Wars in the original film A New Hope. Now, of course, he was always tapping into those Joseph Campbell books. We all know that. But that's not a bad idea for any storyteller.
No, that was a blueprint. That was a blueprint for how to tell the story narratively, not necessarily visually or, at the end of the day, we're talking about a film franchise that has been active for 50 years. I think it's tread enough ground to where it should be the primary influence on what comes next.
Yep.
As opposed to breaking down the alchemy of what went into it. I think that can be helpful at a micro level when maybe you're looking at character design or scenic design or prop design or things like that. You could say, hey, this is cool. This has got a Western vibe. And of course, Westerns have been a part of Star Wars. But I agree with you. There's so much. It's almost like they're trying so hard to make it credible by saying, no, it's Star Wars because it's samurai. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, and
in
I've been pushing
year
back
2026.
I've been pushing back on that because I think in like the comic books, sure, the comic books can meander, but sometimes they'll take it into a bold direction, and it feels like the comic books are being inspired by Star Wars, not by some crusty old Kurosawa film that just doesn't fly anymore, It just doesn't. George was a film school nerd, so naturally he leaned against the things that he and all of his other film school nerds were absorbing at that time. But they always talk about trying to make Star Wars for new fans and trying to keep it up to date and modern and everything. Then why do we keep going back to these crusty old influences? I don't think it benefits the integrity of Star Wars at all. I think it ignores the integrity of what George Lucas created, what he actually created, not the stuff that tickled his fancy and made him get creative. I want to talk about the things he actually created.
It also, and I don't think they intend it this way, but it also kind of undermines the fact that he created something new. He did create something new. He built a new world. He built a new universe. And if they keep having to go back to our own universe to justify things being in there, like, well, what's the point? No. Well,
yeah, that's our Filoni. Hey, at least Dave Filoni really knows Star Wars. I just wish he would tap into it a little more often than he does samurai films.
Yeah, right.
Rebel Force Radio.
It's like making a movie, only worse.
Your source for the Force.
All right, we got one more clip
all right,
from
well, that
Fabs.
wasn't the only place that Jon Favreau was. Apparently, he was at. I kept seeing. I've not heard of this convention, so this was in Mexico.
Yeah,
there were some Hasbro reveals. This was actually a pretty big deal.
It was a big deal. Yeah.
Favs and Pedro were there.
And they marched them out onto the stage in the middle of the crowd on the convention floor, like they do at Star Wars Celebration. That's one thing they do really well at Star Wars Celebration, I got to say, is when they have those StarWars.com interviews and they go out there and there's a huge crowd and there's just great energy in the room. And those panel rooms can be hard to get into sometimes, but it's always easy to watch those live streams from the center stage on the convention floor. So they had a similar setup here at the CCXP MX26 Con in Mexico.
Wow.
Oy. And Pedro and Fabs were on stage with that little Yoda, the baby Yoda that mechanical baby Yoda. Hasbro is actually going to start manufacturing that and making it for sale to the general public for $600 a pop. The exact same technology that they use.
It's available for pre-order already.
Jeez.
Very limited numbers.
I'm happy with my bargain basement baby Yoda here. He's been sitting in my studio since season 1 of The Mandalorian, and he's such a pal. I love him. I love Baby Yoda. Sweet Baby Yoda. You're damn straight, Swank. You're darn skippy, I mean. So, Favreau is on stage talking to the fans in Mexico about Pedro appearing helmetless in the Mando movie. Is he going to have the helmet off just for a blink and you miss it moment, or is there going to be substantial Pedro Pascal screen time in The Mandalorian and Grogu?
We were very lucky to have a great team to work on the show. And every year we would have to turn around in less than a year and make 8 episodes. Now we got 3 years to make a 2-hour film, and we want to take full advantage of that. I got to direct too. I didn't get to direct on the TV show except one time. So that was a treat. We got to build big, beautiful sets. We got to do great set pieces with him with his helmet off finally. You know, he's Pedro was a competitive swimmer too, so we got him in the water. And I saw him in Gladiator, how well he fought, so we got him fighting with his helmet off this time. Yeah!
All right. So in the water, helmetless, we've seen these clips.
Not of Pedro in the water necessarily. I mean, there is that shot where that giant snake pops up and you see Pedro helmetless.
No, there's a shot in one of the trailers where you see him actually.
Oh, really?
Swimming.
I've seen Grogu underwater.
Right.
But I don't recall seeing Pedro. Oh, that's cool.
I've seen Pedro. So yeah. So underwater and helmetless. I don't know what else he's going to bear, but not really an indication of how much. I mean, we know that we'll see him without the helmet when he's confronting the Hutts, I believe, that scene. And then that helmet, I think, stays off for a bit because I think he's going into like a dungeon, like a la Rancor pit, but instead of a Rancor, it's that big snake. So that whole sequence, he's going to be helmetless, and then, you know, I don't know, maybe it'll be like Indiana Jones where like a wind will blow and his helmet will roll across the
land right at his feet.
Right. But I mean, it's a feature film. I mean, I remember we joked and we played that great clip of Giancarlo Esposito when he was talking about, or being asked if the holdup on another season of Mando was Pedro Pascal, and he just threw his head back and laughed and said, "We don't have to wait for Pedro. We don't have to wait for him." But yeah, I mean, Pedro Pascal's stock has really risen since Mandalorian season 1.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, he's now a bona fide, you know, big star, big movie star, tentpole movie star, A-lister.
And John Carlos has as well, for that matter.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's always had that steady character actor gig, but yeah, he shows up more and more things. So it's been a great launching pad in many ways for actors. We're going to talk a little bit about maybe it might be a return for a Gina Carano here in a moment. But Jim, I know something that really, I think, kind of tickled you was this Mandalorian poster.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I have known and experienced when we go to conventions and we hit the dealer rooms is that Jimmy Mack always picks up those little mini rigs, those mini rigs from the old Kenner days. And I only ever had one mini rig, and I remember seeing them, and they were such a great price point. They were a good birthday gift. You know, I think they were like, I mean, the figures were like $1.99. I think the mini rigs were like maybe $5.99, something like that, about $5-6. So I had the the cannon from Hoth, the laser cannon for my snow trooper. But I never had the other ones. But I know you're a big fan of those, and I think you were looking last time we were together. You were looking for an in-box mini rig.
I have a few boxed, and I have a modest collection of the more popular mini rigs. And if we take a look at this new theatrical poster for The Mandalorian and Grogu, promoting the upcoming release in theaters, May 2022, I think every once in a while I get reminded that the internet doesn't totally suck, because the internet drew my attention to these ships flying in the background of this really kick-ass looking poster, one I would love to own. But you see that the Razor Crest is being tailed by a couple of ships, and they could be anything. I mean, this is Star Wars, for crying out loud. But if you zoom in on it, like some have, you discover that those little ships are mini rigs. The famous INT-4 mini rig, the INT Interceptor, which was released around the time of Empire Strikes Back in the 80s and early 80s. And it was this cool ship that had wings that deployed from the side, and it would carry a single snow trooper or AT-AT driver if you wanted. And it had a cannon in front of it, and it's really, really cool. So I went and dug mine up from my collection so I could show it off here on Rebel Force Radio, and I made a few discoveries. Number one, the cannon is missing. What happened to the cannon? Okay, it's gone. And let me deploy the wings here. Oh, I can't, because the wings are missing.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I thought I had a complete INT-4 interceptor in my collection, and I don't. And I feel very incomplete and a little emasculated.
Now, is that your childhood one, Jim?
Now, see, it is not.
Okay.
I think I may have acquired one or two of them when I was still a kid, and then the others have been flea market finds, toy shows, conventions, what have you. This particular one, I believe I acquired in a collection of vintage Kenner parts that I purchased on eBay like 25 years ago.
Oh, jeez.
Like the first day eBay opened, I bought this collection of Star Wars stuff. It was because it had some pieces to the vintage Death Star that I had lost over the years, like the trap door to the garbage compactor, those supports that held the different floors together. Yeah. I lost a lot of those. So I must have been purchasing it, and there were probably some other parts in there too. And I believe this incomplete INT Interceptor, they should call this the INC-4 because it's incomplete.
So you don't have a boxed one laying around there. This is the of course the one that they choose to put in the film is the one that Max got incomplete. But you know what? That just gives you, whether it be the Kane County Toy Fair or Star Wars Celebration, that gives you an excuse to go on the hunt again and see if you can get one of these.
Yeah, and for a vintage Kenner Star Wars toy, the mini rigs are still affordable to collect. So
they really are.
Yeah, they never. You can find them boxed for reasonable prices if you're looking to add some vintage piece to your collection. That's a good place to start. So I'll be on the prowl looking for that INT-4 Interceptor. But there is something that's kind of that I do like about it being from the land of the misfit Star Wars toys.
Yeah.
Just there's something about it. It's mine. I know it's mine.
They all have a story to tell. That's what's so cool about the vintage toys, when you can tell that it's been well played with and loved by a child. I mean, you just can think about all the crazy adventures that they had. It's almost better that way. I've said this before. I remember when I used to keep my vintage action figures, because most of them are from my childhood, all boxed up, and I felt like I couldn't display them. And then the first time I went and saw Jimmy's collection, he had all of them displayed proudly with paint wear and a chipped nose, or, one that the dog got a hold of, and he had it so proudly displayed. And I'm like, wow, they're like battle scars, like it's all the years of play and fun, and they shouldn't necessarily just be pristine pieces slabbed in a piece of plastic. Like,
right.
I look at that now and I'm just like, it does nothing for me.
Say it loud, say it proud, appreciate the history. Every scratch, every scuff tells a story. And I live my life that way. Why do you think I don't use Just for Men? It's because every gray hair, every silver hair, it tells a story. And it shows that there's experience, a level of experience here that cannot be bought or sold. It has to be earned.
I think we have time. Do we want to jump in? Can we do these next two stories? Then we'll get over in the cantina with our Forest Moon pals.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Okay, so that infamous line from The Rise of Skywalker, somehow Palpatine has returned. We all know it, and most of us hate it. It is just the absolute weakest excuse for a line of dialogue. Whoever wrote that, we overpaid. I'll say that. They overpaid for that line.
I think it's a fine line of dialogue. It just required more lines of dialogue to support it.
Okay.
It needed somebody to go, what the hell? Instead they have the Hobbit going, dark science, secrets only the Sith knew. It's cloning.
Cloning.
Cloning,
Right.
dark science.
Right.
But you're never really sure. It's like, does this guy know what he's talking about, or is he just guessing? I think he's just guessing.
He's guessing.
Yeah.
He's totally guessing.
It's like, that's supposed to be.
That makes it even worse.
Yeah.
It's like they almost are telling the audience, oh, I mean, this is nothing to be concerned about. This stuff happens all the time. Cloning, dark science, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what? No, this is serious.
No, you can't just drop a bombshell on an audience like that in the last part of the story without any foreshadowing whatsoever. There was no narrative thread leading to the return of Palpatine at all, and it's all Oscar Isaac's fault.
Yeah. Yep.
All
it
of
sure
it.
is.
I'm placing the blame right at his feet because Kathy Kennedy's gone. Somebody's got to take the bullets. It's going to be Oscar Isaac. No, Oscar's cool. Oscar's one of the coolest guys who ever appeared in Star Wars. I'd like to hang with Oscar Isaac, or at least be his wingman. Sure, I'll take the leftovers. I don't care. But Oscar appeared on Happy, Sad, Confused with Josh Horowitz, and they discussed his most famous, or I should say infamous, line from Episode 9.
Now, don't get mad at me, but the somehow Palpatine returned line, it follows you. It's on the interweb. It's out there. Wait, do you remember reading that line and being like, that does a lot. That line is saying a lot. That's doing a lot of work.
Yeah, those were reshoots.
Oh.
We had to do reshoots. Yeah, because when I look at it, I'm like, oh, the wig's pretty good. I think I'd cut my hair already and had come in. Yeah, man, those are like those surgical strikes where you like come in and
trying to make sense of it.
They're like scrambling, trying to get everything going. And I think that had been. Yeah, that was obviously like a new edition right at the end. So there was a lot of movement and flux throughout that whole thing. But had you asked me if at that moment I thought that was going to be one,
I never know what your
I wouldn't have known.
Be.
Yeah. But
dancing in Ex Machina and somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. I mean. Hey, man, I committed to the exasperation, that's for sure.
You did.
The exasperation.
That's great. I committed to the exasperation. So it's very obvious now, and a guy that we had on the podcast some time ago, a guy, I love his YouTube content, Scott Toy Guru Nightly. He did a video about this from a toy perspective because he was trying to prove the case that this Palpatine was a last-minute Hail Mary. And he maps it all out based on the fact that we never got a Palpatine action figure. The villain of the film, the lead villain, we never got it. And now a lot of people will say, well, Scott, they wanted to keep it a secret. He goes, it was no secret. We had Ian McDiarmid out on stage, roll it again. They were. The fact is that they could have, if it had been in the planning from the beginning for that film, they could have had an action figure that came out. Look at what they did with Grogu. They were able to keep that a secret. And then within a few months, we had figures. No, this was a very last minute decision that was made. And so the Hasbro team and all the other merchandisers, there's no merchandise at all for that film with Palpatine on it. None. There's no lunchbox. There's no backpack. There's no folder. There's nothing with Palpatine. It was done at the very last minute. And Jim, my question is, how far did they get, if this was done in reshoots, how far did they get in principal photography with a whole other concept?
Yeah.
What's still filmed?
Yeah, you want to talk about no Palpatine action figures. What about the other action figures that probably saw their scenes end up on the cutting room floor? Did Hasbro have any of that stuff in production that they just had to scrap it all? Put it in the incinerator. We can't use
Matt
any
Smith
of it.
action figure?
Yeah, a Matt Smith maybe. Or maybe a Coruscant Rose Tico, Coruscant Fatigues Rose Tico.
Yes.
Obviously never happened. But it did seem like Episode 9 was, at least as far as the merchandise goes, it felt like that was a film that Lucasfilm was fine letting just die on the vine. Hey, we got the Mandalorian now. We don't need Episode 9. That was such a mess to begin with. But there are those out there. It was
a Hail Mary, yeah.
There are those out there who will still maintain that Palpatine was in play from the very beginning, and the Force Awakens, and they never can provide any sense of evidence nor breadcrumbs leading to Palpatine whatsoever in those earlier films. It was a last-minute Hail Mary, and the evidence is strongly supporting that.
And the only people that knew about it were Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver. They were the only ones that were on the set. The only actors that interacted with Ian McDiarmid. So.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Interacted with Ian McDiarmid. You're right about that.
Yeah, they were the only ones.
I'm thinking about the guards and stuff, but they were off
but
on
that could
other. But they were shot elsewhere, and
yes, I don't think they were ever on set with them.
Not with McDiarmid.
Yeah. So, anyway, well, that's interesting, and I love the way Oscar says it. What does he say? A commitment to the exasperation.
Well, there's exasperation, all right.
All right, last story.
And one last question about Oscar, though. He must be wearing his helmet when he says that line. Is he? Because he mentioned something about getting his hair cut, and I thought...
He said he had a wig on.
Oh, he
said, nice wig.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice wig.
You can always tell... The one that always strikes me is you can always tell the Episode 1 reshoots with Ewan McGregor because the wig is not rocking.
Right.
There's some pretty obvious ones in there, and he'd already grown his hair out or
for sure
buzzed it or shaved it or whatever he did.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
All right, one more story here this week, and this is kind of coming out of nowhere, but with all eyes on the future of the Mandalorian and the Mando-verse, and Gina Carano settling her lawsuit with Disney. Could there be a return of Cara Dune or just Gina Carano somewhere in the Star Wars universe? And if you're thinking that's impossible, it sounds like she's already started to talk to the big ones.
Yeah, I don't think this really came out of nowhere. She is out and about promoting her upcoming fight against Ronda Rousey, which is going to be happening in just a few weeks. And I'll be glued to my Netflix for that one. Are you kidding me? See Gina Carano back in the ring after all these years, post Cara Dune even.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting, and she looks fantastic.
I hope her ring gear gives a little bit of a Cara Dune flavor.
Yeah.
I think that would be cheeky, wouldn't it?
Right, she's got Baby Yoda in the corner. Or no, better yet, better yet, because I see him more like the Burgess Meredith character Mickey from Rocky, is if you put Queel in the corner.
Oh, Queel in the corner.
Queel in the corner.
That's what we want there.
What did Queel always say? I have spoken. So he goes,
yeah.
This guy is a wrecking machine. You got to be fast, kid. I have spoken. Then out she goes. So Gina appeared in studio on MMA sports journalist Ariel Helwani's show to promote her upcoming Netflix showdown with Ronda Rousey, and the topic of reuniting with Lucasfilm came up, and Gina offered some pretty interesting information.
Whenever I saw anybody in Hollywood, producers, directors, they would come up to me and they're like, they did you dirty. Like nobody ever approached me ever and said, you were in the wrong, and nobody ever said I did anything wrong, even in Hollywood. It's just kind of like it happens to some people, and it happened to me. So, I mean, whether, I don't know, who invites you back? Is there one person?
Well, I guess
I've already had a conversation with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, really lovely. After we settled the lawsuit, we got on a Zoom call. It was really nice.
Wow.
Dave Filoni's taking over, CEO of Star Wars, and it's like we didn't even miss a beat. And Jon Favreau was really funny. He's like, got on the Zoom and he's like, so where did we leave off? And we hadn't spoke for a while, and
Amazing.
He's like, where did we leave off? And I was like, yeah, kind of, they've been in that world a long time.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, there had to be a reason. I mean, you settle a lawsuit with somebody, you're not owed a phone call, but I think that obviously as soon as she filed suit, there was going to be no communication with anybody still working at Disney. Everything was going to be through the lawyers. And, these people formed relationships and they've suffered losses, like Carl Weathers passing away. That impacted those like Gina Carano and those on the other side. So I can just imagine that, this was about at least maybe some closure, getting some closure, establishing that, they still hopefully cared about her as a person and respected her work that they did together. Or, Jim, it could be more. It could be, hey, have you ever thought about coming back? Would you ever entertain the idea of coming back? We don't know what was said, but she didn't rule it out.
No, I wouldn't rule it out either. I think there's a future for Cara Dune in Star Wars somewhere down the line. And this fight she's going to have on Netflix might really propel her into some sort of attractive atmosphere, attractive enough to bring her back. She did mention in an article, I think it was with The Hollywood Reporter, she said she had not spoken at all with Pedro Pascal in a number of years. So they don't have any kind of tight relationship or anything. And Pedro, if they wanted to bring her back in The Mandalorian, Pedro might poo-poo that. You never know. Stranger things have happened. But I think there's a future for Cara Dune in Star Wars, maybe outside of the Mandoverse proper. And I think that is something I believe it's going to happen. She looks fantastic. She looks like she
still
can
looks
kick
like
ass.
Cara Dune.
She looks better than Cara Dune now because she's got herself into great shape for this fight. And I appreciate that. I appreciate her as an athlete. I appreciate her as an actor. And as long as she just lays off the social media, we got a hit. So
we'd probably all benefit from that.
Yeah, definitely. So that's Gina Carano speaking in rather optimistic terms about a Zoom call she had with Favs and Filoni, and they have spoken.
They have spoken.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Rebel Force Radio.
All right, we're going to be speaking here in just a moment. We're going to go in the cantina with the creative team behind the Big Forest Moon Festival. Really looking forward to catching up. They're old friends, so please join us right now, won't you?
Where are you going, Master?
For a drink. Sorry about the mess. You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
All right, well, here we all back together again. We've got the creative forces behind the Forest Moon Festival with the film commissioner, Cassandra Hesseltine, and her right hand, Annabelle Polanco. And I was just saying off the air, I cannot believe that it's been almost a year since we were all together out there in that beautiful region of Humboldt and Del Norte counties. And we're a little heartbroken we can't be there this year, but we're going to be definitely there with you in spirit. And we've been talking about the 2026 festival for weeks and weeks and weeks now. So we've been kind of experiencing it in some way. We're glad to be part of it in this way, at least. But what can you tell us, Cassandra, about how 2026 is going to be kicking this up a notch?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think the exciting thing is we have a few programs that we had done like 2 years ago coming back, like our Friday night market, which is just utterly amazing. About 5,000 to 8,000 people come and walk the downtown here. And the whole theme is going to be Star Wars. So that's an exciting event. Unfortunately, you guys didn't get to experience that, but we're happy that that's coming back this year. Our talent is amazing. Of course, we're bringing Kevin and Tracy Thompson back and Kyle Newman as well. And we've got our new talent, which I will let Anival tell you who he is, mostly because I can never pronounce his last name correctly, but he's amazing.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Matt. Yes, that one. So Matt, we're super excited about because
what a coup that is for you guys. He's so hot right now. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I actually had to sign a Lucasfilm contract in order to make this one happen. So, so that was really exciting. Yeah.
Well, as many know, Matt is the showrunner for Maul, Shadow Lord, and his experience goes way back, including the Bad Batch. And Jim, does Matt go all the way back to Clone Wars?
He does.
Wow, yeah. So he's been at Lucasfilm Animation from the get-go, and popular guy. I mean, Maul's doing great. Fans seem to love it. So you got him you got the right guy at the right time. That's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely kudos to Kyle for introducing us to him. Matt is just a genuine, nice, kind guy who's just excited to come up here, and of course, every time I'm like, who's that? Who are we talking to? Anival is my person who makes sure that I'm up in the know of what's happening, who's doing what,
Well, take it from us. He's a big deal. If you don't believe Anival, yes. You can believe us. He's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust Anival.
Yeah, not somebody that does a lot of fan events. So, once again, you all are continue to create one of the most unique fan events in the world, I think, for Star Wars fans.
Yes, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the comic book expert you guys are bringing along. You have a Star Wars comic book expert, somebody who actually worked in the industry. His name escapes me right now.
Mike Hansen.
Mike Hansen, of course. And so tell us a little bit about Mike Hansen. Does he have some sort of connection to the region? How did you land on Mike?
Yeah, it was great. It was like a weekend. There was a Comic-Con type event happening here. And Jay, our museum manager, she said, hey, let's go check it out. And, I begrudgingly was forced to work on a weekend. And I went, and here's this guy with all these comic books and Star Wars related. And we were like, well, who are you? And he's like, oh, I actually did some of these. And like, he starts sharing what he had worked on. And we thought, okay, the guy's from out of the area. Come to find out, he lives right here in Eureka. And so he was all excited. He was at the first celebration when it was in an airport. Yeah, when it was in an airport hangar, right, Anival?
It was a military, like an Air Force base, a decommissioned Air Force base.
In Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mike was there, and he remembers it and was telling us some of the stories, so we'll be able to pick his brain a little bit more about what that was like when he's on the panel.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very muddy. So talk to him about the mud.
Yeah.
It was like
he
Mudstock.
brought up the ring.
It was like Star Wars Woodstock for nerds. So, hey, tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about these killer T-shirts you're showing off right now. Olive drab with a great. This is a new to us at least. Force Moon Festival logo, which incorporates. It sort of is based on the Rebel Alliance symbol, but it's a forest with a large tree right in the middle. So tell us a little bit about who designed the logo and these cool T-shirts you got.
I mean, if you don't mind, Cassandra, I don't mind jumping in on this one.
That's why I'm quiet. Go. I like to win, Bullseye.
Honestly, it was definitely a collaborative effort. I think with the logo, we wanted to do something fresh this year. People have seen our previous year's logo, and I've always envisioned, like, how can we create an emblem that's obviously really riding close to Lucasfilm IP without crossing the IP boundaries, and something that fits, the region, but also fits into the galaxy, far, far away. And I just started tinkering around in Photoshop and just kind of messing around with some like basic shapes and things like that. And then one day I happened to actually look at all of the different like emblems and insignia throughout just the Star Wars like history, basically, and started seeing things like the Phoenix and stuff like that. And I'm like, what if we just did something like that, but with trees? And the original rendition, doesn't have like the trees on the side. It just had the tree in the middle, and it had kind of like the crescent moon. We did have to run it by some Lucasfilm people beforehand, so we had to make some tweaks. And then we landed on this logo, and it was just like, wow, that's it. And then our office manager, Jay, they ended up actually taking on doing a lot of the merch ordering this year. And both Cassandra and I were like, you know what? You were really wanting to take this on. Like, have fun with it. What would you want to wear? What would you want to do? And they honestly did a really good job talking with all of our interns within the office, kind of doing some like focus group type of stuff. And then honestly, like, they chose the color of the shirt, and I was like, that's pretty on point. Honestly, it's I think it was a good choice. So
forest green, right? Yeah, I mean, talk about being on brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That was my thought too. So it was a fun collaboration. It was one of those moments of like, we just had this aha moment and we rolled with it, and now here we are.
Are they available
But you're
online?
being humble.
Those shirts?
Not yet.
No, okay. Right.
Not yet. They're not. But I have to tell him, no, he's being way too humble. This is Anival's baby. He's the one that made the logo. He made the poster before we were even ready to decide this year's theme, and he just showed up with like artwork almost done. And it was just blew our minds. So no, he deserves way more. It was like 90-10, not 50-50. Like, this was, it's definitely Anival's baby. And I think we were ready to like change, the artwork, because most of it's the name, of our previous logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now we wanted to kind of do like the Nike swoosh, and how do you do that transition? So no, this was definitely Anival's baby. And we're
get the mark out there, and it definitely is unique. And I think you guys have, Annabelle, you created something I think really special that can go on for a long time. So kudos to you, because it fooled me at first. I was like, oh, very clever, very clever.
Is the Arcata Farmers Market happening again this year?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And will the musical entertainment return?
Ooh. Yes. It's going to be actually a different band, but very similar. And actually, some of the members of the band you saw will be at the zoo event this time, the 21 and over event. So they're moving around. They're moving around events. But
those guys definitely looked like they belonged in a zoo, let me tell you.
Oh,
I'm kidding, of course.
The Tennessee Jedi.
Yes.
Tennessee Jedi.
I will never forget walking out through there and realizing, oh my God, we have officially crossed Star Wars and the Grateful Dead. Jimmy Mack will never leave here. Ever. And he did disappear for a good while.
Well, you know.
That's so good.
When in Rome.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised to see actually how much video footage that you had all had pushed out of just Tennessee Jedi. I was like, nice. They're pretty stoked, I'm sure, just to see that, like, what we got recorded. Sweet.
Yeah, those guys are cool. I've been in contact with them since then, and they're characters for sure. And that's a slice of life from the Lost Coast, and I really dig everything about where you guys live and the vibes and the environment and the nature and the people. It's just so much fun. And then you combine it with Star Wars, it makes for the perfect event. And this year, Spaceballs and pancakes. I'm so excited. We were really upset when we saw Spaceballs and pancakes were on the schedule for Sunday. And it's like, of all the years not to be there, Spaceballs and pancakes, you got to be kidding me. And of course, Kyle Newman will be there doing a Q&A for A Disturbance in the Force. And that's a great documentary. And Star Wars fans have really responded well. The pop culture fans have responded well to that documentary. People who love campy, kitschy stuff from the 70s, it's irresistible. So we'll have a screening of that. You know, most people have watched it only on their TVs if they've seen it at all. So now you can see it on a silver screen in a cool theater, courtesy of the Forest Moon Festival. So it's going to be a great event. We're really looking forward to hearing all the reports back. I'm sure Kyle will be texting us nonstop from the event. It's happening May 28th through May 31st in Humboldt and Del Norte counties in California, right where Star Wars Return of the Jedi was actually filmed. You're going to the Ewok Forest, and screenings of Return of the Jedi will be happening. Spaceballs, as I mentioned, and A Disturbance in the Force, live music, celebrity guests, live Q&As, cosplayers. You guys really bring out the cosplayers, and that's so much fun. There's saber duels breaking out randomly. So visit forcemoonfestival.org for more information. And before we let you guys go, we do have kind of a tradition here on Rebel Force Radio that when we have esteemed guests such as yourselves, we like to ask you certain Star Wars questions, not trivia questions. These are pure preference. You don't have to be some sort of Star Wars super fan to answer these questions. You just have to have basically a real working knowledge of the wars. These questions were compiled by Yoda himself, so don't be intimidated, but they were compiled by Yoda himself. He faxed them to us. Yoda doesn't have email, apparently. He faxes things to us. And we still, with that smelly fax paper, too, it's a real blast of the past, but that's Yoda. That's his vibe. And it's called the Yoda Questionnaire.
The Yoda Questionnaire.
Jazz hands. Thank you very much, Richard Cheese, ladies and gentlemen.
I was going to say.
Incredible. And he did that just for us here at Rebel Force Radio. The great Richard,
I love Richard Cheese.
And as Jimmy Mack said, there are no wrong answers to these questions. However, there are some answers that are more correct than others. So I think we'll get started here. We like to start with an easy one from the Jedi Master. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with Cassandra. And we're going to say, Cassandra, who or what, in the interest of inclusivity, who or what is your favorite Star Wars character?
Okay, phew. I'm sticking with my original answer, which I have said every time I've been asked this, because I think I have to say it. An Ewok.
Just a random Ewok, not one in particular?
Random Ewok.
The whole
one,
species?
actually, my favorite is the one that plays the drums on the stormtrooper's head. That's my favorite.
I love
one.
him.
I don't know why I identify with that.
That is such a great choice. Yeah. You're a rhythm devil. You're a percussion dog. You like a good beat.
Yeah, I think his name was Drumstick. I think that was the name of that Ewok. Yeah. All right, we're going to switch over to Annabelle. And, we kind of gave Cassandra a light side question. So if you don't mind, Annabelle, we're going to take you over to the dark side, and we're going to ask you who or what is your least favorite Star Wars character? Least favorite.
Ooh, least favorite character. Man, that's tough. I mean, that's kind of hard because, in some ways they all kind of have their place, right? They all have their place somewhere. Without one character, you probably wouldn't have certain interactions.
What about that stormtrooper that shot the Ewok down from the hang glider?
Yeah, you can have personal problems with them. You can make it personal if you'd like. Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I would probably have to say my least favorite Star Wars character would actually end up being, what was his name? Chancellor Valorum from Episode 1.
Oh, really?
You barely.
Wow. This is the first on Rebel Force Radio that anyone has thrown down with the Valorum on least favorite, but I can totally see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, and this is more purely out of in that moment when I first saw Episode 1 and just kind of seeing how quickly he caved. I'm like, really? Granted, they called it and kind of preface you with all of what's going to happen, and I'm like, man, that's all it took for you, huh? You didn't bother to try to even give any kind of resistance?
Not at all.
Spineless. Played by Terrence Stamp, who is best known as General Zod. And he was a weak and corrupt politician. And Lord knows, we've had enough of those in our own galaxy, much less one far, far away. So, from a long time ago.
Got another question for Cassandra here.
That was the Chicagoan in me speaking, too, by the way. Who knows a thing or two about corruption and
corrupt politicians. All right, Cassandra, what Star Wars moment, moment in all of Star Wars always makes you smile?
Smile. I thought you were going to ask me cringe. Smile.
We might have to add that question.
Yeah, right.
If Yoda says it's okay, we might have to add that to the question.
Okay.
Cringe, you will.
You know what makes me smile? And it's not necessarily, visual moment. It's auditory for me. As much as how many times we've had to hear the Star Wars theme song in this? We have a museum and we put it on daily, and our office is on the other side of a half wall, so we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But I can't help it. When I hear it, every time, doesn't matter where I am, I think I saw Star Wars originally in the movie theater. I'm that old. It does. It makes me smile every single time. And
the fanfare is what you're saying,
me.
like the opening fanfare.
Yeah. The music
okay.
just does this thing to me that is probably what makes me smile the most.
I think that's a great answer, because people always think about a narrative moment, a story moment in the film, but when you're in a theater and you hear that 20th Century Fox drum roll, and then all of a sudden, bang, with the fanfare, that's a great moment.
That does make
we love it.
Yeah, and same when I hear it in the museum, even though I mock it, I say, "Oh my God, turn it off!" But it does invokes something in me, So
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it connects you with your passion, which is that museum and what you do for bringing films to the region. But we're not going to let you off the hook that easily. What Star Wars moment makes you cringe?
When they find out their brother and sister.
Luke and Leia, brother and sister. When that gets revealed, yikes.
Yeah, you know what though? I think she's almost relieved at that point, because it's like, because he was always after her, and we know that she loved Han. So
That's
it's kind of like,
That's true.
so you can stop flirting with me now, right?
Right.
You can end this charade.
Yeah, it was probably just getting to the point of annoying her anyway. So it gave her a good out, actually.
Probably.
And I think it was art imitating life, because I think Mark himself, he's talked about what a crush he had on Carrie, and little did he know that she was,
having an affair with Harrison
at the time.
Hey, she wrote about it in her own book.
That's true.
We're not talking out of school.
Right. We've all been there. We've lost the girl to the guy that's cooler than you. It's very, we've all been there.
Oh,
okay.
I thought you were going to say in love with your sister. Sorry.
Okay.
Priceless.
All right, Hannibal.
You did the banjo. Oh my God.
Hannibal.
Priceless.
What Star Wars moment doesn't make you smile, doesn't make you cringe, but makes you sad? What Star Wars moment always makes you sad?
Ooh. It's tough. Honestly, seeing that, like the scene in, I think it's you'll have to forgive me on this one. It's either in episode 2 or episode 3, but when Anakin finally finds his mom and then, basically has to say goodbye, because that's like one of those moments of like, I remember watching it in theaters and thinking like, oh my gosh, like finally he finds her, he's going to rescue her. It's going to be this really awesome moment. And then ends up not happening. And kind of seeing the aftermath, because to me, that was one of those like kind of pivotal moments for him as a character that shifts further to that dark side. So seeing that was just like, heart-wrenching, just heart-wrenching.
Hannibal, would you consider yourself to be a prequel kid?
I mean, absolutely. I grew it. Oddly enough, it's funny because, I remember going to the theaters for episode 1. I remember all the promotion going on with episode 1 and just how big of a deal it was.
Yeah.
So for me, I definitely grew up with the prequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. And as much as people always talked, mad crap about it, I always enjoyed it. And it's interesting hearing you guys talk about it from time to time with other people, and hearing the perspective of the different generations and the different, now we're at this point now where there's different trilogies for different generations. Yeah. And so, granted, I was first introduced to the original trilogy. Those I got to see on VHS, DVD. But the prequel trilogy, you're seeing that in theaters. And like Cassandra was saying, you hear that fanfare. You're just like, oh, the chills, the excitement.
So, you get to hear it in the theater, and it's all new stories, and extremely exciting. All right, so we got 2 more here. So
Cassandra's nervous.
Cassandra, what job would you most like to have in the Star Wars universe? There's a lot of different vocations and types of employment in a lot of different ones we've seen. We've seen bartenders. We've, of course, seen, military officers. We've seen bounty hunters. We've seen Jedi, all kinds of different professions. What job would be the best suited for you in a galaxy far, far away?
Well, you totally blew it because you said my answer.
Well, I said 5 or 6 things.
Bartender.
Bartender.
Yeah. Are you saying you'd be slinging glasses around in a cantina somewhere in an off-world planet? Really?
Yeah. Hannibal, did I not do that for, I think it was a birthday party or a wrap party when we had, which movie was that? The Kirsten Dunst film. Woodstock. When Woodstock came and there was 40 or 50 or 60 of us at a bar and there was one bartender. And I was like, no, and it was all the crew from the movie, and Kirsten, she was there. And so I jumped behind the bar and started bartending. And I think Hannibal has a photo of it. And we,
a blurry photo.
A blurry photo. And I just went to town and started bartending. I could at least run the register and pour beer and wine. And she made the hard drinks. And we got through the line pretty fast. So I would say,
amazing.
If I'm not working in film, I should be a bartender.
You would then be the second lady bartender in the Star Wars universe. Do you know who the first is?
No.
You will when you watch Kyle Newman's documentary, A Disturbance in the Force, and find out that B. Arthur in the Star Wars Holiday Special was a bartender.
You tricked me on that one. Yes. Matter of fact, that was the one part we stopped fast forwarding through.
So was there
not his movie, the original?
Yes, of course.
Was there any similarity between the crew of the Kristen Dunst film and the Cantina patrons? Was there were they similar in certain ways?
We signed an NDA. We can't talk about none of it.
All right.
I see. So you can't tell us who shot first. Okay.
All right.
Annabelle will explain it to you.
This is a question, and really, either one of you can answer, but it's really Annabelle's turn. But if Cassandra hits the buzzer first, we'll give it to Cassandra. But this is the toughest question. But you're in a very unique position because you're there promoting the beautiful region to Hollywood and filmmakers from all over the world. But if there was another Star Wars movie to be made, and George Lucas was coming back to direct one more time, and he chose your area, the beautiful Humboldt, Del Norte County region, to film his movie, what would you like to hear George say as he waves goodbye and leaves those beautiful redwoods for the last time?
Oh man, what would I like to hear George Lucas say as he leaves? Oh man, come on over to my neck of the woods.
Yeah, an invite. An invite. Very nice.
No pun intended, but
well played.
He also grew up in Marin, so
well played.
Yeah.
Well,
Cassandra,
and
what about you? Is there anything? Cassandra's running through all the George Lucas stories she's heard over the years.
Just maybe "May the Force be with you" or something like that.
There you go. If you get that from George Lucas,
say it,
yes.
as he walks away, that'd be pretty rad.
Yeah, it sure would. It sure would. Boy, he is out there, and I mean, it would be so wonderful if he could come out to your event at some point, even if just as a civilian.
Yeah.
I think he'd be very incognito. No one would recognize him.
No.
We had somebody dress up as him year one with a bullhorn and everything, and even padded tummy. Sorry. And he and walked around, and it was like crazy. It was hilarious. We have so many photos. We'll have to send them to you.
Oh, it's almost like
awesome.
It's almost like Santa Claus showing up at the department store at Christmas time.
It pretty much was like that.
Annabelle, did you sit on his lap?
Well, that was the NDA part, right?
Well, if you're looking for something amazing to do with amazing, wonderful people, look no further than the Forest Moon Festival, May 28th through the 31st in Humboldt and Del Norte counties. And it is always a pleasure. We'll miss you this year, but who knows? 2027, maybe. Big anniversary coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Right. But it's so great catching up with you both. We really, really appreciate you coming on, and anything we can do to support this great event. I will say it to all Star Wars fans listening. It is the most unique Star Wars fan event I've ever been to. There is nothing else like it. Nothing compares. Save your Galaxy's Edge. Go see the actual filming location of where Star Wars was made, and you won't regret it. It's amazing.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and congratulations on all the success you've had bringing films to the region, especially One Battle After Another, which had a huge award season. And Cassandra, from the reports I've been hearing, you partied for, what was it, 10 days straight after that Academy Award victory. But no, I mean, it was well-deserved, and you guys did good work for them and that production. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually going to Cannes now and on a One Battle panel at the Cannes Film Festival. We're up for an award there as well.
Nice.
And so it just keeps continuing. It's one award after another.
Nice.
And we are, and so it's been amazing. It's been such an honor. My whole team works so hard. It's just been an honor to be part of this movie and all that's followed.
Oh, so you don't just do Star Wars fan events, right? Of course not. Of course not. Well, yes, as Jimmy said, congratulations. I'm sure you have some things in the hopper, some productions coming in the next year or so. Probably can't tell us, but...
Yeah, all I can say is the location manager of One Battle has come and scouted for a completely different movie. And then now he's actually mentioned another movie. Things keep happening. We were almost in part of Jumanji 4. Unfortunately, that fell through. But we've lots of, commercials, smaller productions. We do have a feature film that shot in Ferndale, in Southern Humboldt. And that'll be coming out hopefully, next year. It's an indie feature film. So, a whole bunch of different things going on left and right.
Well, great job.
Never a dull moment out there in that beautiful area. Well, thanks again so much for stopping by. Best of luck dealing with Kyle Newman next month. This month, actually. No, we're just kidding. It's going to be great. And Matt McNevitz is going to be there. It's good. And
the Thompson
Tracy
twins.
And
the Thompson twins.
The Thompsons are going to be
Not
there.
Depeche Mode, but whatever.
Right. Thank you both so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful event, and we wish you all the best. We'll be thinking about you here.
Awesome.
We'll miss you guys.
Thanks, Jason.
Chewie, get us out of here!
I just can't stop looking at this final issue. I can't believe it. The final issue of Star Wars Insider. And you know who has the final word of the final issue? I got to say, I'm very happy, is Dan Madsen. He has the afterword.
That's great.
They gave Dan Madsen the final word on Star Wars Insider, which is... And Jim, he got 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs.
They gave Dan 4 paragraphs. Yeah, what's he ever done for that magazine? Well, that's great. And I'll tell you what, our last conversation with Dan Madsen, as he looks back at his history with the great Star Wars Insider magazine, we just posted that to our YouTube channel. So if you didn't catch that a few months ago, check it out on YouTube at youtube.com/Rebel Force Radio.
All right, for even more Rebel Force Radio, as we said, check us out over on Patreon, patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. Get all the benefits, including the weekly full show video that you're listening to right now, plus exclusive podcasts that you can't get anywhere else except over on Patreon. As Jim mentioned, also, we got a lot of content over on YouTube, so check us out on YouTube and all the socials. We're on Facebook, we are on X, we are on Instagram, we're on all the socials. You'll find us at Rebel Force Radio, and the website for everything and all things Rebel Force Radio, rebelforceradio.com. So please keep helping us out by listening to this very podcast and recommending this podcast to your friends. With so much attention on Star Wars right now, I mean, you see that friend in the office and they're sitting there eating out of a Mando and Grogu meal. You got to ask them if they ever listen to Rebel Force Radio. As a matter of fact, I'll share a little story with you. I got an email from a colleague at the day job, and he said, I understand you do a podcast? He knew about it because his urologist found out where he worked, and he said, do you work with Jason Swank by chance? Well, yeah, I've listened to Rebel Force Radio. So, Jim, if you ever need a urologist, we've got one in the family here at RFR. So, urologist from the greater Cleveland area, if you're listening, thanks very much. You made me feel like a big shot.
May the Force be with you, Doc. And, of course, it makes sense. It's a urologist.
Oh,
of course,
no doubt.
Of course it is.
No doubt. So, yes, like the urologist in Cleveland, recommend Rebel Force Radio to your friends and your patients. We appreciate it. And if your podcatcher of choice allows you to subscribe, we would love to have you subscribe. And if it can allows you to leave a review, we love those too. Just one small, simple rule, please.
Make them good.
All right, we'll see you next week. Don't forget, May 5th, the live final Rebel Force Radio Mall Shadow Lord after show here for season 1. We're going to have a great time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Join us and give us a call and be part of the conversation. And then, of course, more Rebel Force Radio, the weekly show, next week. All right, we'll see you next time. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
I'm Jimmy Mack.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.
I have spoken.